not here. I'm here. Ann is not. Janet?
Here.
Carol Morissette, not here. Joyce?
I'm here.
Eleanor?
Here.
Don?
Yes.
And Lisa?
Here.
Okay. This board member adoption.
I just put that on there because Stephanie is our new Florence Savings Bank. I didn't know how to put it, but I think you
Oh,
guys have to
okay.
do something formal to eventually.
Yeah, I think we can cover that under other business.
Okay, fine.
Okay. All right.
When I was going to
Is there any changes to the minutes from July 20th meeting?
That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was. It was in the summer. Now it's spring, autumn.
None? No? Hearing none? Can I have a motion to accept them?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
You need to vote?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Janet, actually Janet and Joyce,
I'm sorry?
Janet and Joyce are recusing themselves because they weren't here.
Okay. And I'll hear financials from Lisa.
Okay, so we got 2 months because we had August off, so we will report on July, which was the first month of the new fiscal year 23, and August was the second month, okay? So let's start with July 1st. Same format. The second column from the left basically is an indication of the formal budget that was approved at the annual town meeting that went by the finance board before that. So those starting balances will always be present for every month we will see, but this is an indication of the start of the new fiscal year. So under wages, because I kept the format as we've always used, you'll notice we no longer have funding for a clerk's position, okay? We didn't use a clerk last year, but we had a placeholder, and which was useful if we needed to fund raises that weren't part of the initial budget cycle. So, and sometimes that happens when some of your trusted employees have an offer somewhere else and you've decided they were worth keeping and you try to negotiate keeping them. So I had that ability. I no longer have that ability. So, all right, so in the next category would be van drivers, transport, and activity. It used to be half of activity, but it's going to be a little bit less of activity because I had carried the other half of the activity coordinator's position is funded through the state-given formula grant, okay? And since I had money left over in the formula grant at our fiscal year cycle, I carried it over, and we'll get to that at the bottom. So I have the leeway to not have to cover a full 50% of wages on the activity coordinator. So starting the fiscal year at $26,119 to support basically 2 van drivers, which is predominantly one, but occasionally the second driver is put into use for our wheelchair van. And half of the activity coordinator's wages, or a little less than half. So the expenses in July would cover the wages of shuttle drivers and about 45% of the activity coordinator's pay, which was, so the total of those is about $1,850 roughly, okay? If you look at the top column, the top row, remaining, we're 1 month in July, right? 92% of the calendar is left, so on the far right, we should typically not have less than 92% left. Okay, so as you go down, you'll see so far we're tracking okay, but for one of the town accounts, which we always draw down initially, which is when we have to pay our Massachusetts Council on Aging annual membership renewal. Those always hit in July. So we draw that miles, meals, meetings, dues. It's really dues. That comes down, but then we don't have any other hits during the year, so don't worry about that category. For the senior lunch program, we have about $20,200 as a budget in that second to left column for senior lunch program. We had $14.58 of wages in July, so we're right on track, okay, on that one. Outreach, we have $24,238 budgeted for the year. We used $1,265 in July, and so we're fine, okay. Into town accounts, we've office supplies, 1996 is where I am billing our once a month delivery of bottled water for the office side. You need a chair. We get 4 or 5 gallon deliveries of ready refresh water for our bubbler, okay? Postage, we haven't touched yet. That's typically where we renew our non-profit mailing permit for our newsletter mailings. Okay, we haven't touched that yet. Repair and maintenance of vehicles, we had $103 of expenses. That was an oil change and a sticker for the blue van. And we had $83.54 of income, namely through fares of seniors using the van in the month of July. Okay. Repair and maintenance of office equipment, nothing touched that. The $302.88 for the next category, miles, meals, meetings, and dues, was MCOA, the Massachusetts Council on Aging umbrella organization, where we pay an annual due fee of $302.88. We had nothing come out of the printing category. Next would be donation accounts, nothing in or out of the building fund. Senior fuel fund, we're starting the year with a balance. These are our donation accounts. This is where people mail us money, or we get grants through, say, Florence Savings Bank, through the Community Choice Grant Program. And so for the senior fuel fund, we have about we have $5,459 going into the beginning of the fiscal year. We charged against it here $233.50. This was a delivery of 75 gallons of heating oil back in April, excuse me. We didn't get the bill from Wayne Massey till very late. I hunted him down. I said, "Send me your bills."
He's a joy.
He's wonderful. He's an asset
Yeah.
for the community. So that was one senior household getting 100 gallons back in April. And then in the non-senior fuel fund, we have $803 starting for the fiscal year. I had a $25 donation come in for that account, and I had a $300 invoice also from April for a non-senior household that we obliged to give 75 gallons to. And interestingly enough, there was a difference in a few weeks. The first one for 233 was 100 gallons. 2 weeks later was 75 gallons through the same oil provider, and look how much, it was amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. General gift fund, we took in $390 of donations, and we had $273 of expenses. So let's see what we have there. We have 2 Zumba classes for $100, 2 yoga classes for $160. So that's most of it. And that was $13.03, I think, for a ice cream Sunday social. Okay. Nothing going on in the newsletter fund the month, nothing in and nothing out for it. Senior lunch fund, $598. This was for an iced tea bar that we ran during 2 consecutive lunch days. Okay. Food pantry fund, nothing in terms of donations, $74.43 out. I bought freezer meats, I bought ground coffee, I bought mayonnaise at the Big Y, okay? And nothing going on as of yet in the Thanksgiving basket fund. Nothing in right now and nothing definitely out. The outs usually happen in October and November, definitely. We do get ins, we do get donations because it's this time of the year, okay? For the formula grant, the second column to the left is italicized. This is the tentative allocation. These numbers may go up just a little once we get the formula grant, which can take until next March, believe it or not, even though it's supposed to be starting October 1. The reason I say the numbers may go up is I believe it's this cycle that the state is going to be using the most recent census. Last year, it was still stuck on the 2010 census. Now I think it will be the 2020 census, and they're giving you a per capita increase in terms of formula grant award. Okay, so not only will your population numbers change for the demographics, which is those, I think it's 65 and older, the per capita rate will go up. So we don't know what the demographics will look like. My hunch is because we're all baby booming, the numbers should go up. And if they're going up quicker than the passings of people are occurring, then you'll have a larger 65 plus population and a higher per capita payout. So these formula grant amounts will go up. But I've kept them in the historical allocation that I inherited coming into this job a couple of Aprils ago. Okay, and then the next column to the right of it, so 3 columns from the left, you'll notice the values are slightly higher for most categories except postage. I included the carryover, that which we did not consume or exhaust by the end of our town's fiscal year. They do not take the money back. Largely this has been, I think, since COVID, they allow you to use the funds. Okay, so we have a little extra to move forward with. So for activity, in the activity area under formula grant, this is where the other portion of the wages for the activity coordinator are covered. Okay, so it was $743 in July, for the month of July, for wages in the activity coordinator's position. And then down in newsletter printing, the $136.82 is our monthly lease on the RICO copier system, which we use to do all the inserts to stuff in our newsletter. And office supplies was $227.68. And let's see if I can remember what that was back then. It was about grocery was 28 households, that's down 4. That means we had 4 stranded bags, so we break those apart and we put them in our food pantry. Grocery delivery, we had no seniors requesting items from our pantry or from the grocery store, that's down 1 from June. Produce bags, in July, this was when the mobile food van was still coming to the parking lot and it was available for just about anybody. It was 59 households took produce bags. That was down 6 from June. Transportation, 13 medical trips. That was up 4 from June. Miscellaneous, we had 35 trips. That's haircuts, banks, groceries, Comcast store, whatever. That was up 2 from June. In terms of support services, outreach and shine counseling, we had 24 individuals come in. That was 6 fewer than in June. Medical equipment, we had 10 clients who were loaned 10 pieces of equipment. That was one more client and 2 fewer pieces than June. Wellness calls, we did 32, that's down 3. Phone calls for events, getting volunteers was 40, that was down 42. We had a lot going on in June, so we had a lot more calls. And we had no activity in our SALT program for lock boxes or street signs. So let's go quickly through for August, same thing. So what you'll find out on the August sheet is the third column from the left now has a balance that was the far column on the right in July, the second to last column on the right. So this is where we track the cumulative balance for every month prior that's drawing down on the budget item. So shuttle drivers and half of the activity coordinator, we had a similar amount, $1,800 and almost $29 in wages for those combined positions. We have 83% of the calendar left by the end of August, so the far right column should have nothing lower than 83, but for the dues column, which I already explained. Senior lunch program, we had 1,353 of wages. Outreach, we had 1,044 of wages. Our budgets are well on track. Town accounts, office supplies, this would be 4 gallons of water and a couple sleeves of plastic cups. Postage is $24 going out of the account, that was stamps for outreach. Repair and maintenance of vehicles, we had $45 of fares coming in for the month. And we had $89.11 out. That was for air conditioning recharging on the blue van. Okay. Nothing on repair and maintenance office equipment, nothing on meetings, meals, miles and dues, and nothing on printing, so those budgets stay untouched. On the donation accounts, we took in $50 donation for earmarked for the senior fuel fund. We took in $150 for general gift. The outlay for general gift was outreach coordinator asked if I would authorize the purchase of a portable air conditioner for a senior who has very bad health condition and breathing condition, had inadequate cooling in their small apartment, and I made a purchase, and it is on a long-term loan. It has our stickers on it. We know that if they are to move or pass away, it returns to us. So that was a portable air conditioner.
It's kind of like the medical equipment.
It is. Okay. I'm going to do something here. I'm glad you brought that up. Senior lunch fund, $31.22. These were bottled waters and seltzers for the lunch program. Food pantry fund took in $271.38 for donation, and we had $35.63 for groceries for items that were not on our shelves. And we do get people in town lovingly giving us things, but sometimes there's a mismatch between what people are taking and what we need. Okay. Nothing in or out for the Thanksgiving basket fund. Formula grant, $702.45 is roughly half of the activity coordinator's wages in August. And newsletter printing again had another monthly lease payment to the Rico copier of $136.82. Okay. On the back, the sort of program areas for August, 32 households got free bread. That was 8 higher than in July. Pantry, 9 seniors took 10 bags. That's up 3 seniors, up 3 bags. Pantry under 65 years of age, 1 client, 2 bags, down 1 client, up 2 bags. Brown bag, 35 bags went out, so everyone on the list picked up. So that's up 7. Grocery delivery, no. And produce bags, notice the asterisks, 35. August was the first month where, working with Neighbors Helping Neighbors, we no longer ran it the way it had been running since the prior October. The van no longer stays in the driveway for an hour and a half or hour because the system was being used as it was not intended, which was basically who has the greatest need. And it's in part the way Neighbors Helping Neighbors very kindly rolled out their program. All they asked was number of people in the household. They didn't ask for proof of income need. Okay? So we decided the best way, and they started wanting to make this change at other senior centers as well. So we said, why don't you come the week after our brown bag, come around the back of the building, deliver us the pallets of produce, we will assemble the bags, and it distributes to people who are already authorized to receive groceries through the brown bag program. And when we announced this in July at the last parking lot event, we had brown bag applications available for people to give them a heads up. This is how it would be running going forward. Here's an application, here's how it works. You have the choice to apply. Some people said, I won't qualify. So they knew that this was the end of Free Produce Monthly. And many have applied. And they don't have to be from Granby, but they, for some reason, like to come to our center for brown bag pickup. And some have been approved. And so now that's why the number's gone down so much from what used to happen in the prior months. So this number should be roughly the size of our brown bag roster. Okay, and it's West Mass Food Bank. The Food Bank of Western Massachusetts on Hackett, they run the brown bag program. They approve the applications, okay? Transportation.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Lisa, are they asked to make a donation for brown bag now, or is it totally free to them?
It's free. You mean the recipients?
Yeah,
It's free. It's
because
totally.
they used to have to pay $3.
Well, West Mass,
Previously, yeah.
the food bank must have made a change at some point, but when I came on here, it was never a fee. So I don't know, again, if it was right at the beginning of COVID they got rid of it, or maybe the federal funding that goes into food banks around the country said,
Right.
release the $3 requirement.
It was a voluntary donation, but they were asked.
Interesting.
And people did pay, but I think you're very right to
Yeah, it had to.
make this change.
Well, I had been talking to Neighbors Helping Neighbors about it, but it wasn't until the director of the program, the executive director of the program, brought the president of her board with her to one center and then another. And he saw what was going on. They had a discussion. And then when they came here in July, I said, here's how I think we should do it going forward. Because for a good half hour or 45 minutes, we'd have people from other communities
Out of town.
parking at the edge of the parking lot. And before the van was even ready to set up, they had formed a long line. So we knew the handwriting was on the wall.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. Transportation, we had 22 medical trips, that's up 9 from July. Miscellaneous was 33, down 2. Outreach and Shine saw 28 clients. That was up 4. Medical equipment, 6 clients, 6 pieces, down 4 clients, up 4 pieces. Wellness calls 32, no change. Phone calls 51, up 11. No one for SALT programs. Okay? So that's it on 2 months of financials.
Old business?
Yep, okay. I've got nothing to tell you about the senior self-defense class. I haven't been updated by the Granby Police Department, but I can check in with them after this meeting. Potable water. I spoke with Jeremy this morning, who was here, and I said, Jeremy, I have my meeting today, so what's the latest? The good news is we've had no bacterial hits in the building since the well was fixed. So that's really good, not one. Okay, today there should be another water test by our contractor, La Formois. The contractor will then report that result to whoever the on-site engineering personnel is. I think that's a hired individual. And it's that individual who interfaces with the state DEP, okay? So we're still waiting for the state to formally lift our boil water alert, and then all the signs come down in the bathrooms and on the doors. I think people are so conditioned right now not to. We're going to have to incentivize people to actually want to drink the water and wash pots and pans with it. So anyway, so that's the update on the potable water situation. And I tell you, when we get it back, we're going to have a big third world party.
For sure.
All right, new business.
Okay, so we are now starting in September up to 4 days a week for lunch. We added Wednesdays. And our numbers are pretty decent for a new day. I think it has a lot to do with whether people look at the menu and say that's something I'd like to eat, like hot dogs are not big. Okay. We will be doing a fall festival on October the 13th, as mentioned in July. It's from 10 to 2. We have lots of registrations for our last hour from 1 to 2, which is Sarah the Fiddler. We've limited it to 40 people. We're hoping for nice weather, so we're going to do the whole event outside under tents, but if not, it'll all be squeezed in here. We'll have resource tables, some cornhole, the pumpkin painting contest. It will have our normal lunch. It's a nice lunch menu that West Mass Elder Care is offering that day. And we're hoping it's a sweet time. Okay. Starting October the 11th, we are going to try and offer a third Healthy Bones and Balance class each week. It's going to be a Tuesday. It's going to be from 9 to 10. And we're starting it on the 11th because the first Tuesday of the month, we're busy. But the real impetus for this is that South Hadley Council on Aging has 4 Healthy Bones and Balance classes per week. I think it's a morning and afternoon on each of 2 days. And even with 4 classes, they have a waiting list of about anywhere from 35 to 43 people. And one of their instructors came by here about 2 or 3 weeks ago and told me about the situation. We don't have as big a facility, but the 2 classes we have average between 15 to 20 people, I would say 20 being our max. So we spoke with the instructors, and we have a new person in town, who is almost done training for Healthy Bones and Balance, so she'll also be available to help teach. So we're going to do that not at the normal 10 to 11, but 9 to 10. So it'll be for the people, and we hope that what I'm going to do is get the waiting list from Leslie Hennessy over in South Hadley and call those people and let them know. And I imagine some, but not all, will want to come out for 9 to 10. And we'll have some of our own people who would mind doing an additional day. If they're not already doing both days, they might say, I'll do the Tuesday as a second day. And then what'll happen on the first Tuesday of every month going forward, normally that would be our coffee social at 9:30, where we have a speaker come in. It's usually an hour, but if it's a good speaker, it goes more than an hour. So the Healthy Bones and Balance will be 9 to 10 and 10 to 11 or 11:30, because we don't have lunch on Tuesdays. We will have the social. So we did a little shifting, okay?
Have you considered one of the Healthy Bones classes in the afternoon?
It crossed my mind, and it could happen. It could happen, I think, on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday's really the only fungible day because our calendar is so Tuesday. Our calendar is pretty set. We have a very little squiggle room, although we did have an opening on Monday afternoons because we've lost our rummy group. because I had to, for those of you who've got your newsletter, on the back, you'll see the clarification. We couldn't have any games here that included money, and pennies are money, and because it was being brought to the attention through other senior centers, and other seniors from other towns were coming here wondering if we were still allowing rummy for pennies, and we were publishing rummy for pennies, so we took it out of the newsletter going forward. So I announced that they could still play, but it couldn't be for pennies, and they decided they don't want to play here anymore. So the stamp collectors, I believe, are going to take 2 Mondays of the month from 1 to 3 because they preferred an afternoon slot as opposed to a morning slot. So that's nice. That's a nice tame group in that time slot. But we could consider a Healthy Bones and Balance class on a Tuesday afternoon. I'll talk to Rachel about
For
that.
folks that don't get up early.
Yeah, I know 9's kind of early for a lot of people. Okay. And there'll be no stuffing of the October newsletter in the next few days because it already went out and you already have it. Normally I would tell you when we're stuffing newsletters. Okay, so that's it I have for new business.
Do you have a date for the November one?
I'm not thinking that far in advance.
Okay, because we won't meet before that.
What do you think? Wait, now you're,
No, I'm sorry,
let me see.
losing it.
Yeah,
It's only September yet.
Yeah.
Don't wish your wife a lie.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Any other business?
I wrote one thing down just now.
Oh,
That's
go
okay.
ahead.
I made a change to the medical equipment loan program, seeing as we support not only Granby, but we support South Hadley and Belchertown and Chicopee.
Ludlow.
Some Ludlow. We had equipment just flying out of here when I came here, and we were short on sort of vital pieces. And so Simon Legree took the notebook and started calling people and saying, I need this back. You've had it for 2 years, you've had it for 3 years, you've had it for a year. Oh, we tag sailed it, we can't find it. Or they returned it, or I thought I could have it. And I said, no, it was always a loan program. So I have revamped the program. The liability sign-out form say this is, and the newsletter says it, this is a 90-day loan program. We will call you at day 60 to tell you you have 30 days remaining. It is then you can tell us whether you have anticipated need. You can't get a prescription from your doctor to get it through Medicare. You can't afford to buy one on your own through Amazon and get it for free shipping. We'll make some allowances. But as a result, all equipment is tagged. It says return by.
Oh, that's good.
And we have a chart in the back of our sign-out binder that tells us when 60 days is and when to start calling.
The physical therapist that came in for Bob said, oh, I didn't know Granby had equipment. He saw the tag on the roller.
We get a lot of physical therapists coming in here. I do know one who works pretty widely in the area, and she has gotten word out that the one thing I would be happy to see go out of here are all of our commodes, because they take up a lot of room. Wheelchairs collapse, walkers collapse, but the commodes I have to stack, and those I would happily see go out the door. And when people call to say, are you accepting donations of medical equipment, I said, what do you have? And I said, no, not commodes, but I'll take transport chairs as long as they have footrests. So it's working much better. So.
Lisa, does your form have anything on it that says we would appreciate grateful donations?
You know, it doesn't, and I probably would like to put a big red rubber stamp on it saying donations always, financial donations always appreciated.
I really think, because the people coming to get it, most of them aren't destitute.
No, I know that.
And so, and if they had to go to a medical facility to even rent it, let alone buy it.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a thought.
Okay. Well, I just went out on online and I had 2 good transport chairs that were donated to us, but they had no footrests. So I had to buy 2 pair of footrests. I shopped them well. But if we had a little donation account,
Right.
that would really help.
Mhm.
So.
I think,
And when we had no transport chairs, I found one in a flea market, barely used, for $30 with footrests and an orthopedic cushion, and I
Wow.
grabbed it.
sure. Right. Huh.
That's it for me.
That it for other
Yes.
business?
For me.
Director term limits, I'll take that one.
The what?
Director term limits, board member adoption, that would be the same thing. Stephanie here, Stephanie Pratt, say hi Stephanie. Stephanie has taken Julie Duffy's place. And so we need to vote to recommend Stephanie be a non-voting member of the board, okay?
Okay.
In order to officially get her in.
Officially, okay.
So I will make a motion, and then if I can do this at the same time, I'll type it up. This is a test. So my motion is to recommend to the select board that Stephanie Pratt be added to the COA board as a non-voting member.
Do I hear a
I'll
motion?
second the motion.
Okay.
And voting?
All those in favor?
Aye.
So Lisa, are you gonna, do you want me to make up a thing, or do you want to?
I can do it. I'll send it up to the select board.
Did you send the other appointees up to the board already? Because we didn't do anything in July. Whose terms were up?
I think we're all set.
Well, we did get, in July, I did get a appointment sheet. So I was wondering if you had done that or if they did it automatically.
Of people who were already here that wanted to re-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just did that automatically. We asked, and I'll have to check the minutes to see,
But when you go
you were
to
one of them,
the,
weren't
when you
you?
go, you have to fill out the conflict of interest law that you have to do and give to them upstairs. So I did it on my computer. Of course, she wouldn't let me print it out. But I went upstairs with it on my phone and she said yes. So she took care of it for me up there. I don't know how anybody else did it, but I know you do have to use that conflict of interest law. So I'm all set, I don't know about anybody else.
Okay.
And I did get a nice little letter from,
Barbara, you were the other
Yeah,
one.
I'm all set.
you're all set too?
And then Julie's term was up. That was it.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody, there's a whole, another group for next year. But that's next year. Maybe we'll be on time next year. That's all that I have.
Okay. All right, the next board meeting will be the 19th at 9, of October, at 9:30. Do I have a motion to adjourn? If there's nothing else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Somebody got it.
All in favor?
9:10.
You need to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.